Am I the a-hole for leaving my wedding with my wife? Title is confusing, so I will try to explain it as better as I can. I'm male 29, have been with my girlfriend, female 29, for about 6 years. We love each other very much and have a fulfilling relationship. We are, however, a very introverted couple, so when we discussed marriage, we were both on the idea that we didn't want a traditional wedding or a wedding at all. We want to go to a courthouse by ourselves, no friends or family, sign the paper and then go to our honeymoon. In our country, this is very weird since weddings are expected to be massive, over the top, and every member of the family must be invited disregarding your level of closeness with them. We got engaged in relative secret since we were already living together and shared the information with our closest family. When they asked for our plans and we told them, they didn't take it very well and a lot of fights began with both families. But especially with my mother and mother-in-law, who would not tolerate a marriage that did involve the Catholic Church. After a few months of fighting, and since there's a pandemic going on, we went ahead with our plans and got married by ourselves and went on a month-long stay in a secluded cabin. When we returned, suddenly all bad blood with our parents and extended family was magically gone, and both my mother and mother-in-law were again very friendly as if nothing ever happened. After about 3 days since we came back, my mother-in-law invited us to the wedding of one of her friends as proof that all was forgotten. She said she would pick us up so that we wouldn't get lost, which was weird, but we didn't suspect anything. The day of the wedding, we arrived at the location and see that everything is still being put up, so we figured we were a bit early and should help. But then I saw my family and some of my in-laws. Turns out, it was our wedding, and they had planned it to be a surprise. They already had a dress, church, food, DJ, everything. Of course, we were shocked, as we were very vocal that this is not something we wanted. Then they told us that since we were driven there, we wouldn't be able to leave and should just be grateful. Here, the story becomes too long to fit the 3,000 limit, so to summarize, we called a friend to pick us up and we left. Of course, both families are super angry at us and constantly call us to tell us how ungrateful and disrespectful we are. At first, I thought we were right to leave, as we gave our reasons for not wanting a wedding, and especially a religious ceremony. But we've been told they invited over 200 people, and felt very humiliated when everyone arrived and we weren't there. So now we are doubting and there's nothing like asking strangers for judgment. So Reddit, am I, we, the a-holes? Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. They basically kidnapped you to perform for them. You have every right to leave. That's exactly what we felt. She drove us there, so we would have to stay. Basically, we were taken as hostages. This story is so insane that I'm questioning that it's real or not. How can people be so self-absorbed they show no regards for others like this? They treated you like puppets. Not the a-hole. Not the a-hole. They had no right to do that. I told them you didn't want this, and were hoping to embarrass / guilt / shame / trap you into doing it anyway. They're upset that you put them in an uncomfortable position, but that's exactly what they'd planned for you. I'm glad you guys stood up to them as a team. Thank you. Ever since we announced our plans, the guilt trips and manipulation has been over the top. They threw you a surprise wedding? Not the a-hole. If any part of this is true, they are crazy as hell and you should cut contact. Although uncommon in my country and region, this type of surprised wedding is not unheard of. But it mostly happens when people get pregnant or if both families are super conservative and find out that intercourse has been happening. Since this wasn't our case, we didn't suspect anything, but I can see why it would be hard to believe. Now for the next story. Am I the a-hole for wanting a child-free wedding on my niece's birthday? So me, 28 female, and future hubby are doing the damn thing, hopefully, this year in August. We have been engaged since 2019 and together since 2012, so this has been a long time coming. For some background, I have 10 siblings, I am the youngest, and combined, they have 30 children, 20 of which are aged between 4 to 17 years. For our big day, me and my fiancé chose a date, but not the year luckily, when we got engaged. And it has been meaningful for us. It is actually my mother's birthday. So our first call was to my mom to ask her permission if she would be okay with us having our wedding on her birthday at some point. To our delight, she was super happy with the idea, so that's that. In addition, one of my sister's child, 8 years old, has her birthday on the same day. So our next call was actually to her to tell her that we would like to choose that date. And the wedding will most likely be child-free because we could never afford to invite everyone. Back then, she was like, yeah, do whatever, you didn't even have to call to ask. So now coming back today, the invitations have been sent and she got hers today. And I get a call from her. Sis, so I wanted to make sure that the sentence, please leave your children home, does not extend to your relatives, right? Me, this extends to all of our invited guests, family, and friends alike. Sis, but I am your sister. Why should we leave them home? Besides, I have promised XY all this time that we will be going to have a great dance party at your wedding for her birthday. Me, I am sorry, but I told you that beforehand when I asked about the date as well. We cannot afford to invite so many guests. Think how many children there would be. Sis, no, but you should make an exception because it is her birthday. And I promised we will go. I know some of my other siblings are mad about the child-free thing as well, and we are getting a lot of heat for it. My fiancé has a very small family, so I feel bad constantly that mine is so huge. We just want a cool party with just close relatives and friends, and not to mention COVID has set quite the limit. So am I the a-hole? Because I knew my chosen wedding date was someone's child birthday, and I knew that I wanted to have a child-free wedding. And now I do not want to make an exception? Not the a-hole. You called to ask, and got permission. Your sister is the a-hole for backtracking. Exceptions will cause drama with other parents. I totally agree as long as Opie is fine with a lot of her family members declining the invitation. They don't have a right to be mad, but they do have a right to stay home. Why would a lot decline? My parents used to attend all kinds of events that were child-free. I could understand if the one sister did because it's her kid's birthday, but why would others? Not a a-hole. This is a date that is special to you. You told her what you were doing. She chose to promise her daughter something that, frankly, wasn't in her control. Aside from the fact that she blatantly disregarded what you already told her. There is nothing wrong with child-free weddings. Your family can suck it up and get over it. I was not invited to weddings as a child. This could be regional/country specific. But why does it seem people freak out now when their children are not included? Most people getting married do not have their own children, and you are putting more pressure on them when you want this many children included. Also, the last place I would want to be on my 8th birthday is a wedding. I get it. It puts the parents in a tricky spot that they're either not with their daughter on one of her birthdays or they miss one of their siblings' weddings. Since there are 30 little nibblings running around, they could probably hire a group of teens to watch all of them at the same time, instead of each individual family hiring a babysitter. This is also assuming that their other side of the family cannot watch them for one evening. Not the a-hole. There's nothing wrong with wanting a child-free wedding. And if you have 30 nibblings, it's going to be a decent likelihood that there will be a birthday. If your sibling wants to stay with their kids instead, that's their choice. There's no reason they shouldn't be able to celebrate during the day, just not at your wedding. Think about this. There are 52 weeks a year, or roughly 52 weekends. There is mom, 11 kids, plus spouses/partners, and 30 grandkids. Excluding spouses/partners, that is 42 birthdays. Opie's family is averaging one birthday a week. Assuming everyone has a partner now, you're up to 53 birthdays. I think Opie is screwed on trying to find a weekend where someone can't lay claim that it is so-and-so's birthday or birthday weekend. Edit. Thank you all for your thoughts. When choosing a date, we went with my mother's opinion, and with my sister telling us we shouldn't have even asked her about it. Reading the comments, I do realize that not being a parent myself didn't think about a few things. I also did some math, and there is a birthday/anniversary of someone else in every 7.8 days in my family. So I was screwed from the start. Next story is titled, Am I the a-hole for refusing to sign a postnuptial agreement in exchange for a down payment? My 27 male, wife 27 female, and I got married over COVID and thus had a super small wedding. Only immediate family came, and it was a 12-person wedding for only about $2,000 total. Her parents paid for her dress, I paid everything else. My wife and I are now house hunting, and the market is ridiculous right now. My in-laws are pretty financially comfortable and offered to gift us a 20% down payment since they didn't have to pay for a wedding. But they want me to sign a postnuptial agreement, stating that if we were to divorce, all the equity from their gift would go to my wife versus split 50-50. I told them no thanks. I don't want any gifts with strings attached. Neither of us wanted a prenup, so I don't want a postnuptial agreement either. I make about 50% more than the wife and knew there was some risk, but that's not the kind of marriage I want. My wife agreed. We just lost another house bid, and my wife brought up how we could be more aggressive if we accepted her parents' help. I told her my stance hasn't changed. If they removed a caveat, I will, but I don't want them to have any involvement like that, and I want to keep our marriage attorney-free. She gets it, but is getting more antsy about not winning any housing bids, and thinks I should reconsider. Her brother, who I know pretty well, also is now trying to get me to agree to it, saying I should put aside my pride so we can get a better housing for our future family. Planning to have kids soon. But I just feel like they'll breed resentment and cause drama that I don't want in our marriage. Edit. It's not like we'd be homeless without their support. I make a good living and she does okay. It's just the housing market is pretty crazy right now, and we live in an expensive housing market. I don't want a loan from them, even if zero interest. We don't want more debt than we'd originally be planning to take on with our current budget. I'm not trying to negotiate a postnup to be more beneficial to me. The whole point is that we both agree to a marriage without getting lawyers involved, which is a binary matter here. Now for the top comments. Not today, Hull. Gifts with strings are never a good idea. You are right to avoid this. Agreeing to it being a loan with an interest rate to be paid off when the property sells would make more sense, but all the future equity is unfair and inequitable. Unless she makes all the payments and pays all the expenses. No a-holes here. I totally understand all the different sides of this issue, honestly. You don't like the idea of the strings, but also probably they're doubting the long-term validity of your relationship. Your in-laws don't like the idea of a possible divorce in just a couple months would entitle you to half of their hard-earned money. Your wife doesn't like being in the middle and wants to get a house ASAP. As a parent, I would probably also like a post-nuptial agreement for a gift of a significant amount of money. But there is a reasonable solution that all of you are overlooking. Get a post-nuptial agreement that expires in X years. This would solve both their concerns and also have a null impact on your relationship, assuming that you are in it for the long haul anyway. It's not about how many years it would apply. We went into our engagement with me making significantly more, and I likely always will. I knew going into the marriage that divorce is possible, but we both agreed to jump into the marriage with 2 feet. I'm not saying, oh well, I should receive the majority of equity for mortgage payments then, because I'm paying a bigger portion of it. We didn't want a lawyer-involved marriage in general, which is pretty binary to me. That's not a postnup. If your in-laws want to give you 20% down, you and your wife can drop a contract with her parents stating that if you divorce, you and your wife will give her parents their 20% back. Or you could treat it as a second mortgage loan from them. It's obviously not a gift if they want the money back. Now for the last story. Am I the a-hole? My mother gave me an ultimatum last night regarding my wedding. Background. My older brother is an embarrassment. He's racist, awkward, weird, a drunk, and is also 16 years my senior. My partner and I got engaged on New Year's Eve. Our original plan was to do a city hall wedding, then bop off to our honeymoon. Unfortunately, we decided to have a small party with family and best friends. The problem, I asked my mother not to have my brother at the wedding. At no time has any member of my family supported me this past year. I have earned 2 additional accreditations in my field, teaching, taken multiple foreign language classes, published 2 books through my small press publishing company, and have assumed the role of financial guide for my mother after my dad passed away 2 years ago. My brother and sister have done nothing to show support for me. My brother never misses an opportunity to insult my weight. Had weight loss surgery in 2018 and have lost a ton, but he still attacks me about it. And never misses an opportunity to call me a fat, which is obviously disgusting. My mother initially said okay to my request to not have my brother at my wedding. Then yesterday, she gave me an ultimatum and said if he isn't invited, then she won't come. My sister won't come, my aunt won't come, and my niece and nephew won't come. They're 8. I plan to talk to my therapist about this tonight, but I'm not a a-hole. I live with my mother and brother. Not a a-hole. When someone says, I won't come to your wedding, or anything else for that matter, if you don't do X, Y, or Z, the response should be nothing other than, that's a pity. You'll miss a great day. Don't argue or try reason. They rarely mean it. They just want their way. Leave them be and don't engage. She'll go, and frankly, if she doesn't, then screw her. Easy for me to say I appreciate. Thank you. If I were you, I would stop helping your family out. You did what you could to help them, but it seems like they're a negative force in your life. You need to surround yourself with people who will reciprocate your support and positivity, not soak it up like a sponge. Not today, Hole. And your reply to her should be simple. That's too bad. You will be missed. And then drop it. Do not discuss it further. That's too bad. You will be missed. Are they really going to be missed? Anyway, not today, Hole. Wedding day is a day of love and happiness. There's no place for people who doesn't provide any of those things. Not today, Hole. Okay, see you when we get back from the honeymoon. And move out. Not today, Hole. Your wedding. Call her a bluff. And good luck with the wedding.